You're listening to the Create What You Speak podcast, where I invite you to come along with me as we shape our own reality together. My intention is to bring out the magic in you. Now let's get started.
Come along now, run away from the humdrum. We'll go to a place that is safe from greed, anger and boredom. We'll dance and sing till sundown and feast with abandon. We'll sleep when the morning comes and we'll rise by the sound of the bird song.
My name is Sloan Fremont, and today I'm going to talk to you about how everything is always working out for you.
It's funny how life gets complicated. It's funny how life just takes its toll. It's funny how everything leads to something.
All right, it's a new month. Here we are in April, and after the wild ride that we've seen this year, who knows what April's going to bring us. But I've chosen to believe that whatever comes our way is going to be good. It's going to bring us opportunities, and it's going to bring us expansion and more fun. And that's why I've chosen this month's theme to be Everything is Always Working Out for Me. I know it may not seem like it or even feel like it right now, but what I have found in my own life is that when I really focus on this belief that everything is always working out for me, that it gives me a different perspective, and I'm able to get out of that small box that I had put myself in and my thoughts were contained in, and it helps me to get a different perspective and really see the truth in that. And it's always helped me be able to see and feel and believe that I actually am supported and that the universe is not trying to punish me, that the universe actually does love me. And so that's our topic this week, and our theme for the month is Everything is Always Working Out for Me. But before we get to that, I want to know how you are doing. How are you doing? This is such surreal time for all of us. So I really hope that you're feeling as best as you can and you're paying attention to your well-being during this time, focusing on what, feels good to you. And like we've talked about in previous episodes since this quarantine started, focusing on opportunities that are available to you and your span of control to actually influence things, right? And instead of that fighting against and that resistance that really doesn't get us anywhere. So if you missed those previous episodes, I would encourage you to go back and listen to them because there's a lot of good content in there. So, all right. So I want to start out, before we get into the show, I want to start out the show with this interesting thread of tweets that I saw about this topic of just what's happening right now. And, I'm hoping this gives you a different perspective on things. And so I wanted to share this. And this is from a guy named on Twitter his handle is Scott Adams Says. And I don't know this guy. I know nothing about him. I didn't even read anything other than what his tweets were because I really liked them. But I wanted to so here's the thread of tweets that he had. The coronavirus is acting like an unwelcome The coronavirus is acting like an unwelcome Olympics for scientists, doctors, engineers, entrepreneurs, techies, leaders, parents, and the ordinary heroes of every kind, setting records in every event. You can almost feel humanity getting smarter. The most capable among us are forming lasting connections, sharing best practices, learning shortcuts, building a working trust, creating tools at blazing speeds. One way to imagine the future is that the economy will lose trillions of dollars and we will never get it back. Another filter on the future is that energy doesn't disappear. It only relocates and changes form. A huge amount of energy is leaving the economy. We know that for sure. What's less clear is where that energy is going. My filter shows a global, quote, mind being formed in real time to fight our common enemy, the virus. That mind needs a lot of energy, like a newborn, and wow, is it getting it. I had resisted the common pundit prediction that everything would be different after this crisis because I expected a speedy recovery, but I revised my opinion. While I still expect a speedy recovery, I also think this experience is rewiring the collective mind of civilization. We probably crammed years of innovation into months. We will be coming out of this with a lot of extra knowledge about our systems and ourselves. The energy will get channeled back into the economy. The coming weeks will test us all. But when it's over, we will be far smarter and far tougher in every way. As Steve Jobs proved, the right thoughts and the right skill stack can turn into trillions of dollars. Civilization's skill stack is undergoing a major upgrade. Watch how much energy that later pumps into the economy. It will be amazing. I loved that. Like, think about that. It will be amazing. And I wanted to offer you that this week as a different perspective on how to look at things. So again, that was from a guy named Scott Adams Says on Twitter. All right, so let's get into our topic, our theme this month. Everything is always working out for me. And so I'd like you to stop and think about that for a minute, like what that actually means, that everything is always working out for me. And think about how your life might change if you chose to believe that. Like if you chose to react to every situation with that belief that everything is always working out for me instead of like anger or annoyance or frustration. Like what if you just let it slide off and you were able to go with the flow and truly believe that everything is always working out for you? And what if you believed it so hard and you had such unwavering faith in it that you refused to believe anything else? I want to give you an example in my own life of how things are always working out and always with our best interest in mind, even if it doesn't look like it. And I really saw a shift and change in my own life as a result of being on this lockdown. And if we hadn't been in this state, I don't think this would have shifted in the way it did. And so I want to tell you the story. So I've talked about this before, that I do consulting work, and this project I'm on has been somewhat challenging. And there's been so many changes and shifts and pivots and all this stuff. And I had led a team for a while, but I didn't like it and I didn't want to be doing that. And I had been asking the universe for that. Like I didn't want to do this anymore. And that happened like in a really short amount of time. Like after I made that request to the universe, it turned around in like 48 hours. And I talk about this in more detail back on episode 8 of this season called Deciding It's Taken Care Of. But it happened in a way that I didn't particularly enjoy, but in the end, it still happened and I got what I wanted. And so a continuation of that story from that back on that episode 8 was that I was finding, because I wasn't managing this team anymore. And in my mind, I felt like it was a demotion. Even though it was 100% of what I wanted, I was struggling. Like I was pissed and I was annoyed and it's like I had a chip on my shoulder, like about the whole thing, like anything to do with work. I had a chip on my shoulder about it. And I couldn't get past my own perspective to move on from it. And I didn't like it at all. Like I felt stuck and nothing was changing, but I didn't know what to do. And so last week at work, they wanted to have this virtual happy hour where we all call in to go to a meeting with our cameras on, which we normally don't do. Normally, nobody wants their camera on, right? If you're used to this, or if you're not, nobody wants their camera on. If you work from home, part of the joy of working from home is that you don't have to get ready, right? You can just show up, like wet hair, uncombed hair, doesn't matter, right? And so we decided to do this with our cameras on so we could all see each other and just have this social time to get to know each other. And everybody was like BYOB or BYOD, right? Bring whatever drink you wanted, and everybody was drinking. And and this is one of those things I think that's highly underestimated, like that power and the importance of face-to-face connection, even if it's online. And maybe some of you are noticing that now, like the power of that, like that face-to-face connection, how we need that. And so we did this happy hour online, and we didn't talk about work. We just we did some icebreaker games and, got to know each other like on a human level more. And everybody was drinking a little and, just more relaxed and having fun. And so, you guys, this let down such a huge barrier for me with what I was struggling with, because I was actually able to see everyone as humans. And I know that sounds weird, but if you've done any work from home or remote working and you're just talking to a voice on the other end of the line, it's really easy to disassociate from that voice and not think of the person as a human. And what I mean is like things you would do in person, or things you wouldn't do in person, maybe you do because it's just a voice, right? Like maybe you're a smart ass to someone, or maybe you're condescending, or maybe you get instantly pissed or whatever, right? Like it's really easy to do that when all you have is a voice. And so having that face-to-face interaction with people, like to see people on this project team who we've been working together for 7 months, some people I had no idea what they even looked like. And so it helped me to have that interaction, have get to know them on a human level. And it helped me to soften to this and let go of my anger and visibly, I could feel a difference in my body, right? I could now start to associate with people as humans and not, and look at them as on the human level. And everyone's doing the best they can. And no, we don't always have to agree, but we can all be humans in this and look at it from that perspective. And so That was last Friday. And I can tell you this week has been completely different for me. Like, I've let go. Like, I let go of that anger and rage, and it's just not there. And I feel like I'm like back to normal again, like with how I feel about work. And I don't think that would have happened if we weren't on this lockdown and doing something out of the ordinary. I mean, like I said, we've been on this project 7 months, and nothing like this was ever even discussed. Like, nobody even, thought about this or considered it. But because we're in this lockdown and the team was slowed down and everybody's in the same boat, right? Everybody's just itching to get out, right? We have the time. And I think that, just the benefit of that personal connection was so huge for me. And I think that was, a big part of me being able to let go of my own situation. And I would imagine others on the call got some benefit out of it as well, right? Wherever they were with the project and being able to do that and like see people and interact with people outside of just a regular boring meeting, right? And so I share this with you because this is just one example of how things are always working out for us if we choose to take it that way, like if we choose to look at it from that perspective. And I've talked about using this slowdown as to have more time to work on the podcast, my invention, and even work on things within myself, right? Because we're all faced with ourselves right now, right? Like, we're all faced with ourselves, and being like in this place of there's no place else to go but with our own selves. It gives us the opportunity to do that, to sit there with it and discover things that we may have missed previously or maybe completely ignored because life was moving too fast. And so this month, in line with our topic of everything is always, our theme, everything is always working out for me, let's try to focus on that together. Just as a group, everybody that's listening, let's try to collectively focus on that belief that everything is always working out for us. And I've got some ideas of how you can do that in your own life, starting today, to start to look for that. So I think identifying examples in your own life of how everything is working out for you right now, it is a huge benefit. It's a huge benefit because it might be easy to start to not think that, right? Like we're coming into this, like everybody's sick of it, right? We all know everybody's sick of it. And if you're in a house of people, maybe you're fighting or you're, whatever is happening. So identify examples in your own life of how everything is always working out for you today, right now, today. And so what are some things that have happened in your life that may not have happened if this virus hadn't happened and we weren't in this forced quarantine, right? Like, what are some of those things that have happened that may not have happened? And can you start to identify how things are working out for you as a result of that, right? Like, you may have to move those thoughts and those beliefs around a little bit because it probably didn't happen the way you thought it would. But I bet if you're willing to shift your perspective, you'll start to see that, things are actually working out for me. And just like with my situation with work, I mean, I never would have thought something as simple as that would have like completely disarmed me. And who knows? I mean, who's to say? I have no idea if this hadn't happened, if we would have done that. I doubt we would have done the happy hour. But in your own life, what are some things that have happened that may not have happened if we hadn't been forced to slow down? And lastly, then identify the opportunities you have experienced because of this time of rest. Like, what opportunities have you been able to see in your own life? Have you been able to maybe sleep more or get more done or cook more, or read more or whatever? Like, whatever it is for you, what opportunities have you experienced because of the slowdown? And to continue on those things, those ideas, write them down, right? Like, do this today, do this tomorrow, do it the next day, right? Make it a practice for yourself while we're all going through this as a way to get in touch with yourself. And also do it because it matters, right? This time matters. When we come out of this, it's going to be really interesting to look at to go back and look at those perspectives that we had during this time and remember how we were thinking and how we were feeling and how we viewed things because I think it's important to underestimate the power of what you're going through now and the answers that you're finding as you go within, and then start to be able to ask those questions of yourself and document, record, like remember the answers that were revealed so that you have this to go back to in the future. The intention this week, or the takeaway, or however you want to look at it, is really fully embodying that belief that everything is always working out for us. And it really is if you choose to look at it that way. And so I thought I'd leave you with some affirmations, some perspective shifts, like whatever you want to call it, as you move forward this week. So here they are. So what if things are unfolding to bring us exactly what we've been asking for all along? What if all that is required of us right now is to make the mental adjustments to let the new in? What if we choose to seize this opportunity? I talked about last week. I played the song Eminem, "Lose Yourself," where he talks about that. Like, you only have one shot. Do not miss the chance, right? Like, and I don't believe we only have one shot. But what I'm saying is, what if we choose? This is like unheard of, right? Like, so what if we choose to seize this once in a lifetime opportunity and roll with it, right? Like, see what comes up. Figure out what's an opportunity for us. Figure out what's being revealed for us, and go with that, right? Like, go with it. And what if it's possible that there are more possibilities than we ever realized about this, right? Like, what if, like that, what I talked about at the beginning of the show with the guy from Twitter, like, this energy is going to move somewhere. So we have no idea what possibilities might be in store for us as we move forward. So what if we chose to think about those as positive instead of negative? And what if it's possible to give yourself and everyone you know, and maybe even those that you don't know, a break during this time, right? We're all in this together. It's easy to single yourself out and think it's only happening to you, but that's not true. It's happening to all of us. So what if we just chose to give ourselves and everyone a break? And what if we trusted that the universe had our back and that this reset, right? What if this reset that we're going through, what if it brought you the biggest breakthrough that you've ever had? It's possible, right? And what if we allowed more opportunities than we could ever dream of? In this time, it sets us up on a path to soar higher than ever before. Those are all possibilities too. So what if, right? Like, what if? There's so many possibilities, and there's so much for us that's in store that we could never possibly know today. So that's it for this week on our topic of everything is always working out for me. I'll talk about the songs I picked for this week and close out the show. All right. So the intro song I chose was Belong by X Ambassadors. So I love this song. Okay. Let me tell you the lyrics. It's funny how life gets complicated. It's funny how life just takes its toll. It's funny how everything leads to something. Now I'm back where I belong. And so the song goes, he's talking about I'm back where I belong. And it's, easy to associate this to a relationship, like coming back to another person. But what if we looked at this as I'm back where I belong with myself? Like, I'm back where I belong now with this time that I have. Like, I'm back where I belong with myself. And I think that's fun to think about, right? Like, it's fun to think about. So the intro song back, it's Belong by X Ambassadors. And the outro song is Come On Out by the Airborne Toxic Event. So this song, the chorus of the song is talking about come on out, come on out, come on out. And he talks about like come on out with it. Like, whatever it is that you have to say, right? Like, come on out with it. And I feel like we're all experiencing that right now, right? Like, things are coming out that maybe we didn't expect to come out. Maybe we expected to be something completely different in April, but here we are. And so what's coming out for us? Like, what's coming up? What do we need to come up that's been stuck there? Like, for me, I feel like there was these old beliefs and these old thoughts that I had that because of this, I'm shifting, right? They're not because the resistance slowed down, it doesn't have the same energy. And so Come On Out, Airborne Toxic Event. That's the song to close us out. All right, so that's it for this week on our topic of everything is always working out for me. And I would love to know what you think of the episode. If you have questions, I would love to hear from you. You can email me, sloanfremont@gmail.com. My website is sloanfremont.com. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, all the social media is Sloan Fremont. And if you like the podcast, please remember, subscribe, rate, review, and tell all your friends so more people can find it. Thanks for listening this week, and remember, everything is always working out for you.
Black lungs, headlights, head